The book that we will be discussing today is called Yellow Wife by Sadeqa Johnson. Yellow Wife by Sadeqa Johnson. So what was your initial thoughts on the book, The Yellow Wife, when you first saw it? What was your initial thoughts?
I didn't know what I thought this book was about, but the title was interesting and what got my attention, and just the cover. But once I got
Yes.
to it and started listening to it, I'm like, wait a damn minute. It was pretty interesting and it really kept my attention.
Yes, it did.
I
Yes,
don't
it
know
was it
what
like
I
a page
thought it
turner
was
for
going to
you?
be about, but that wasn't it.
Yeah, yeah. You really didn't have no clue. I mean, I know I didn't. I had no clue it was gonna be like that. Just not reading anything, just initially seeing the
Right.
book and the title is like Yellow Wife. What is this about? Yolanda, what was your initial reaction or your thoughts? Yolanda? I don't know if she's having technical difficulties or not. But yeah, I'm just like Lysandra. I was like, I don't know what this be about, but I know one thing. This cover is so beautiful. I was like, I'm finna read whatever they talking about. I could not wait to get into this book. I was like, I'm sure it's gonna be interesting. And then I saw, like I said, I just was talking to Lysandra about other books that she has written, and we saw that she wrote The House of Eve as well. But yeah, it's always interesting to hear from you all what your first initial reaction or your thoughts is before you even get into the book and start reading it. So yeah, I just wanted to know that. um the question number two: did you think Phoebe was naive in thinking that she would be free? Did you think Phoebe was naive in thinking that she would be free?
Hmm. Yes and no. I mean, I guess I could see why she thought she might be free,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, yeah and no.
Okay. Did you want to elaborate a little more?
I mean, I guess, like I said, I could see why she thought she might be free. And wait, and then how her mom, always talked to her. Is that Phoebe? Because I be getting the characters mixed
Yeah,
up.
Phoebe. Uh-huh. Yes, Phoebe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I will say this. Anytime, first of all, Phoebe was a slave. For those who did not read the book, I'm just going to give you a quick, overview of the book. Phoebe Dolores Brown was a slave. Um, and her mother was a slave as well, of course. Her mother name was Ruth, and she was the daughter of Master Jacobs. He was the overseer at their plantation. So she was a mulatto um, slave girl. Um, and it was a while before she even knew that Master Jacobs was her father. But yeah, so the whole time she's trying to get free and wanting to be free, and so her mom always said, "You're not a slave. Just don't ever forget that you're not a slave."
Huh?
You know,
Yeah.
okay, I don't know who, but anyway, so her mom always told her, "No, that's just thing. You're not a slave. Don't ever think you are. You know what I mean? This is who you really are. Your name is Phoebe. You know, don't ever just always told her, don't think like that. Even if we are on this plantation, you are, as a person, you are not a slave. So that was one of the things that kind of her mom drilled into her, and to not think like that. So so yeah, her mom always, kind of told her, you're going to get your freedom, blah blah blah, you know what I mean? And so the question was, did you think Phoebe was naive in thinking that she would be free? In my reaction, in my thoughts, I would say that anytime you're a slave, your goal is always, I gotta get free. If you have that mindset, if someone plant that in your mind, or you have a taste of a little freedom, like let's say in the book Basil, he was able to go to the bakery and get out a little bit. At some point he decided, okay, at some point I'm gonna get up out of here. It all depends on how your mindset is. Some people will feel like, hey, this is what I am. I'm a slave. I'm going to die a slave. I'm going to be a slave. And this is the end of the story. Some people have a little more courage and they're a little more bravery and say, you know what? This ain't the end. This ain't the end all be all. I'm finna find a way to get up out of here. So
Yeah.
in this case, Phoebe's mother, Ruth, was like, hey, your father is going to give you freedom once you turn 18. He's going to give you the papers, blah, blah, blah. At some point, and this is what she lived on until she turned 18. My daddy, who is Master Jacobs, once again a white man, said, I'm gonna be free when I turn 18. So this is what she's living for. And it did not happen because he ended up dying. So once that happened, she's like, oh, I'm never gonna be free. The person that's supposed to give me my freedom papers is dead. How am I
Yeah.
gonna get free at this point? You know what I'm
And
saying? So
I think the dad was really saying that to appease the mom. I'm not even sure if it would have happened,
It
you know.
wasn't
yeah,
going to
I don't
happen.
know either. I don't know. You say who? Wait,
Yeah,
what happened? Somebody saying something?
That's Yolanda.
Yolanda.
It wasn't going to happen. So how, even from the audio, she never did call him her dad. They always called him Master Jacobs or whatever. They
Had
never
Oh
to.
yeah.
Had
father.
to.
So she had to, right. But at the same time, she was never going to be free. So in her mind, she was not only naive because her mother led her to be that way.
Right.
And
Right.
then when she did become, because she still thought, oh, he's gonna come all the time. He's gonna come and get me. He's gonna come and get me. She still was
Hmm.
naive. Even when his wife sent her away, she was still naive and didn't even realize what was going on. So even when she got to the jailers, she still was naive because she thought, oh, well, I'm not only in my mind, blah, blah, I'm not a slave, and who I really feel sorry for was her son. I don't know, my heart just bled out for her because he was like, Mom, I am a slave, even though she kept saying, only in mind, you're not a slave, blah, blah, blah. He was a slave.
She's trying to feed him what her mom fed her.
Exactly.
But he was a little more, he wasn't buying into it like she did with her
Exactly.
mom.
Because they treated him differently. So he
Yeah.
felt how, the difference in, so he already knew what was happening.
Yep.
But
So
when you're a kid, I don't know if it is being naive. You just believe in what your mama told you.
Right.
So that's what
That's
the
why I
question
said
is. Like,
yes
do
and
you think
no.
Phoebe was naive in thinking that? You
so
know,
but at the same
she was
time,
just believing what her mom told her.
Monroe, she told Monroe the same thing her mother told her. But
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
he,
parents do. How
experienced
you
it.
was taught, you teach your kids like that.
He was
But
still
the question is it
different.
being naive?
To me, she was naive because she saw what happened on their plantation. People came back, they might have didn't get whipped or whatever, but they wasn't free to go and do whatever they wanted to. And then why did you have to wait till you was 18 if you was going to be free? So they saw people come and go that were younger and that were white that were free. So she knew 18 didn't make a difference. She still was going to be a slave, but she just in her head.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe if I was a slave, my mama said at 18 you'll be free. Shit, I'll be counting on that shit too. Like, hey, come on, 18. Because one thing my mama always told me, honey, when you 18, you can leave my house. That's when you grown. But while you up under my roof, you're gonna do as I say. And when I tell you, I prayed every day till I got to be 18.
But
And that
but it could
came
have
true.
also been a way of motivation, like to keep her fighting, to keep her going. sometimes if somebody like tell you a certain thing, like, oh, it's gonna make me fight a little bit more because I feel like even if it does seem naive or not accurate, it's like I feel like I got something to fight for to keep me going. So that could have been part of the reason too, to just motivate her, so that she doesn't give up and keep fighting. But I don't know
But
if
it
that's
made the
true.
others look at her differently because how she carried herself differently. She thought more highly of herself than the other slaves. And his wife, when his wife slapped her or whatever she did to her, like, you got this girl thinking she's not a slave, or, thinking she's better
Mm-hmm.
than the rest of them. Like, the wife is trying to bring some humility to her or whatever in that way.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get it. That's why I say yes and no, because one, she was young. Two, this is what her mom is feeding her. Like, so,
Mm-hmm.
but as you're still growing up and you're still seeing what's happening around you, you may get a little bit more privilege because this is your dad, but you still, you know, a slave. You still doing what?
Yes, but she did more than the regular slave because even though that was her dad and the
Right.
sister took her out like that was her niece, she didn't acknowledge, oh, this is my auntie or this is my niece. She just took her out and about. Like, this is a
Mm-hmm.
slave child that I'm taking with me that, is going to be my house, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Privilege.
But even though her mother told her that, other people that were around her told her the truth.
Yeah. I
So
guess
whenever
to
it's
me,
like,
it's like the difference between a house
she
Negro
still
and a
listened.
field.
When she first got to the jailer, they told him that he was the devil. She ain't listen to that. You know, when my bro father escaped, he told her, white people, you can't hold on to white people tail because they gonna lie to you. She ain't wanna listen.
Yeah. But I also feel like back in them days, her mother felt like if he say he gonna do it, he gonna do it. Because you didn't all you had was hope. So if this man who you had a child by, even though he's your master, you pretty much believe what he say. Because at that time, that's the only thing she wanted for her daughter. You know what I mean? So it's like if you can just do one thing for our daughter, is to free her when she's 18 and get her out of being a slave. That's all I want. They don't ask for much. They ask pretty much for one thing. And it's like they don't really believe that you can't come through for this one thing for me. Like they are kind of like naive. The slaves are, when it comes to the masters. They believe pretty much what they be telling them. And like we say, we really don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, we really don't know if he would have freed her or not because he ended up dying. So we really don't know. But the black lady at the at Ruth's and Phoebe house when on their first plantation in Bell's plantation, the black lady did say, "Girl, he ain't gonna free you when you're 18. Girl, like don't hold your breath for that. You know what I
Right.
mean? That is never gonna happen." And some people have that mentality, like, "Girl, don't listen to none he telling you." Like, really? You
Yeah.
that stupid? In other words, they be saying, are you that stupid?
Right.
But when you're the mother of that daughter and that's your baby daddy or whatever, the master is your child's father, you just hoping and praying, like, please free her. That's all I ask you is that one thing. And he promised, okay, I'm gonna do this. He steady telling her that, hey, I'm gonna do it for our daughter. I'm gonna do it. So you just hold on to that little piece of hope. That's all you got is that little piece,
Yeah.
and that's all Phoebe was hoping for. Even her mom ended up dying. She, you know, being on the plantation, it's just one of them things that is just you don't have nothing to hold on to. So any little thing you can, or somebody promise you any little type of survival or hope or anything that'll make you just wanna, like Tamara said, motivate you to keep going and not die and not
I
just,
get it.
you just holding on to that one little piece. you know, because Ruth, her mother knew ain't no freedom for me. Okay, I know I'm gonna die here, but my daughter can have a better life, and that's how it is. You know, even today's society. Look, this how my life is, but I hope my kids have a better life. And that's the same thing happened for Phoebe when she started having kids. Look, she ended up having a kid by another master, a white guy. And she's sitting up here asking, all I'm asking you is please, you know, free my kids, woo, you know, send them off to school, whatever. And, you know, that's all you be wanting.
Yeah.
Because you know, ain't no freedom for me. I'm stuck here. You know, and when Phoebe did get free or could have gotten freed, she wanted, I want my son. My girl's gonna be all right because they can pass for white. So they gonna be all right. But my son over here, he can't pass. And I want him to be free now. And and she risked her life trying to make sure he was free and took other people with her.
Mm-hmm.
Who was not even family, but in you know, not blood, but had became her family. You know? So, you know, this was a really it was really a hard book to read. It was easy, but it was hard to just visualize and stuff, you know. And I had to kind of in my mind remember that this is not a real book. This is historical fiction. You know what I'm saying? Because I started looking at it like, man, you know, this messed up, you know, but it is historical fiction, you know. So these things really didn't happen, although they were based off another family, and some of the stuff was really true. You know, it was at the end of the day, it was historical fiction. So I had to kind of bring myself back to that. But yeah, it's always a little, you know, emotional reading these type of books. So I was just really happy that you know, she wrote it, you know, and she had the heart to even want to share this story. Like she said, I don't know if you all read the epilogue, but she stated that she went she got the story from when she went on a family trip with her kids, and they went to Virginia on the trail, and the story, it was based off of Mary Lumpkin and the Lumpkins jail in Richmond, Virginia. And so she just, and at first, she really thought that the overseer of the Lapeer jail, which was Robert Lumpkin, she was like, oh, it must be a black guy, because interracial marriages was illegal back in the 1800s. So, but then she said, wait a minute. She said, how could a black man be the biggest slave trader in Richmond? So as she did her research, she realized that Robert Lumpkin was a white guy. So that changed the whole trajectory of the, you know, of her story. She's like, wait a minute, it's a white guy? Oh my God, you know. And then even when I got to the chapter of Devil's Half Acre, I was like, I didn't even really catch on to it. You know what I mean? And as you kept reading, you was like, this is the Devil's Half Acre. You know, it really became true. Like, wow. I mean, some stuff really went down. Like, a lot of torture went down on the plantation, you know. So yeah, but I want to go back to when Phoebe was a kid and when she was in the house, her first on the Bell plantation, when Miss Sally, which is Master Jacob's sister, with how she learned how to play the piano and how she adored her. You know, I wanted to talk about that for a minute. And I was just wondering, like, why did you think Miss Sally, you know, latched on or took a liking to Phoebe, you know, at such a young age? I wonder what do you think or made her treat her like that, you know, special, give her piano lessons? Like, who does that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know she wasn't looking at her like, oh, this is my niece.
She
I know that
she
ain't
knew
it.
that was her niece, you know, and like I would tell people all the time, you know, mothers lie for their sons, sisters lie for their brothers. She didn't care that the brother was sleeping around with the slaves, but she knew that was her niece. But she still didn't acknowledge that was her niece. But she taught her how to read. She taught her everything because that was her niece. Now the rest of the slaves, she didn't take no. So, which was funny to me is the wife kept calling her pet, like you're Little Miss Sally's pet. Oh, that was her niece, but okay. But the wife still got jealous because she knew that was his child, and she didn't have any children by him.
Mm. Mm. Well, if she looked at her like she was her niece, then okay. I don't know. I felt like Miss Sally did it because she was just happened to be a nice white lady, and she saw that Phoebe was a smart kid and just tried to pass on what she knew to her. You know, I'm really not sure, but I know a lot of masters had kids with slaves and they didn't treat them like Miss Sally treated Phoebe.
Yeah, but
They didn't get them. They didn't teach them special. Hmm?
yeah, they might have treated him whatever, but they did the ultimate. No, no. She taught her how to read. She taught her how to. She gave her manners, etiquette, whatever. She taught her piano
Yeah.
lessons. You know, she even took her out shopping. And then Phoebe also tells a story about one time they took her out shopping and they was like, your daughter is so beautiful. They was like, and she didn't even deny it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's how she pretty much treated her.
I think every now and then it's just about who that person is and who you are. You know, you always find some people just have good in them. You know, every blue moon you'll just fumble across somebody that just want to do the right thing. You know what I mean? So by her getting that special treatment from Miss Sally, you know, it kind of altered her view of what was really going on. Because the next question is, in what ways do you think that her influence affected Phoebe's personally and her outlook on her future predicaments? You know, um, she was kind of set off from the other slaves. You know, she had talent. All they knew was working in the field. She knew how to read, which means she could teach other people how to read. She can get around the world, read signs, read street names, know how to get here from there. You know, you can get a lot with reading. And back then, you get cute for reading. And this white lady taught her how to read. That's an advantage. That's what it is. It's an advantage. You can play the piano. What kid you know can play a piano? That takes a lot of time and studying and practice, and it's just a lot. You know, her mama couldn't even teach her these things. Her mom couldn't even teach her how to read. You
But
know,
some
so
kids do learn. Some kids are self-taught. Some requires teaching, and some are self-taught.
that is true.
And
That is true.
I don't think it was just because she was a good person that she took to Phoebe either.
So you think it was because she was her niece?
Yeah, I think because she knew she was related or whatever. And yeah, I especially back like in slavery days, nah, they ain't just being nice to be nice.
Mm. I'm just saying, I never heard a story where the master's sister treated the other child or the slave child and gave her, you know, the good life, or
Well, so
you know.
I like finding your roots. Have you ever watched this series? It's a PBS series, and it's about basically, yeah, finding your roots. And
Okay.
he traces back to as far as he can in your history to slavery, and it's some very interesting stories. Like you should check it out if you ever get a chance to, any of y'all, if you're into that. And because I've taken a couple of DNA ancestry things, I've been real interested in it, and I love the show. But they do trace back to slavery. Well, on this show, they do it for a lot of different celebrities or whatever. I wish they would do it for regular people also, but it talks about like they find out, okay, your great grandma was born a slave and she had a kid by the master and this, that, and they have some records where he might have left land for, this slave that he had kids with, but he had to make it look like it was a sale some kind of way because he couldn't just give it to her. You know what I mean? So there could be some that really liked or cared about their persons, their slaves, because they looked at them like property back then. But just being nice just to be nice, I don't think that was the case. And a lot of it. They spent a lot of time with these people, having them do whatever they want to do. And then like one slave master like had a lot of kids with one of his slaves. And so I guess before he passed away, he did want to try and look out for him in some kind of way. Anyway, if you get an opportunity, check it out sometimes.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out on PBS. But when you say people weren't doing stuff to be nice, when Phoebe became a mistress to Ruben Lapierre, remember when July took over her kids and watched her kids all the time, every day, day in and day out, she told her, when my kids are being tutored by the lady, whoever, I forget her name, that came and tutored them, she said, when you're there, make sure you taking notes. Just don't say none. Don't act like you is listening or are listening, but I want you to absorb all that is being taken in. She never have to say that.
Yeah,
she was just being nice.
Emotions.
She was just being nice, though.
I don't think being nice. She was trying to get her.
She not her family.
She did call her family,
but she wasn't blood, is what I'm saying. She was just being nice. She didn't have to do that.
No, she didn't.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed that, like, you just don't. It's all how a person is. Like, even the masters, they did what they did, but some of them, I don't know. I wasn't back in slavery, but I'm just saying, some was a little lenient to their slaves, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because even when Phoebe was in the house, she was like, "Oh, I didn't have to do this." Because remember, she was always, I would say, the golden child, until when Rachel died in the beginning. Remember, she got sick. Her mama wished she would have took care of her. She probably would have lived a little longer. But the Miss Delphina then call on Ruth, which is because she was the medicine woman on the plantation. Phoebe's mother was the medicine woman, and she's also was a slave. But Ruth could have healed Rachel before she died, but Miss Delphina did not want to call on her. She was like, no, leave it out. We'll figure it out. Let her stay there. And they was like, she needs a doctor. We need to call Ruth. We need to go get Ruth. And she never did. And by the time Ruth did go over there, it was too late. She did give us some medicine, but she ended up dying. It was just too long of a wait for her to get something in her system. But my point is, when Phoebe, yes, that's what I'm saying. She was evil. She was evil. She really was.
To the most.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But my point is, when Miss Delphina ended up, when she left there, some kind of way, Phoebe was like, remember when Rachel died, that's when Phoebe had to work in her house as her servant. Because before she was like, I don't have to do that. My daddy said he don't want me working. She didn't do that. She was not a servant like that. She did the seamstress because her mother was a seamstress. So she worked with her mother as a seamstress. So when Rachel died, her mother was like, who I'm going to get to do, take care of me? Who am I going to get to do my house? They love their servants because they do everything for them. And Phoebe had to work in the house and be what Rachel was. And Phoebe was like, but I'm too young. I don't even know how to do anything. That's when she realized she was a slave for real. Because Miss Delphina put it on her ass. You know what I'm saying? She looking like, honey, I don't know who you think you is. You talking back, you doing this, you sad, whatever. You know what I mean? You done got beside yourself. But in her mind, she felt like, but my daddy is your husband. So you can't whoop me, you can't touch me, you can't do nothing to me. But Miss Delphina, like you said, baby, she got it straight. I'm gonna break you down. And she was mad that was his daughter anyway, because he had a daughter by a black woman. I'm your wife. You cheated on me with it. You having sex with the slave, and you had a baby. And like Miss Delphina said, I'm gonna have sex with your man, who is a black man. Since my husband had sex with a black slave, I'm gonna have sex with your man, who is a black slave. I'm about to get me some black meat. What? That's what she said, y'all. Now that's not me. That's what the book said. He went out and got some black meat. I'm finna go get me some black meat too.
She was hurt, devastated that he left.
Yep.
Baby, she was devastated.
She knew when he was taking all them trips and taking that woman with him. Where he was going.
She used to stroll out to the garden. That's where she used to go and get her something.
Baby, she took Essex, honey. And that was poor Phoebe, the love of her life. He only been with her. She only been with him. But what happened was Miss Delphina, she saw, oh, you flirting with her. You liking him. Oh, that's your boo. Oh, I'm going to have sex with your boo. That's all it takes. When people see who you like, oh, let me go tap that real quick. Let me go take that. And then Miss Delphina got pregnant by him and killed the child.
Pure evil.
Had sex with him, had a baby by him, went and drowned the baby. Didn't even bury the baby. Threw the baby to Phoebe and said, do whatever. Discard this thing.
She was real crazy. She could have gave that baby, like they said, to the slaves. They would have took the baby in and did whatever.
Of course.
But she was just evil.
This is a newborn baby.
Just evil beyond. And then probably would have had him killed when they found out the baby was whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Killed the baby. And they had 39, they started on their plantation with 39 slaves. But then Rachel died. Ruth, which is Phoebe's mama, ended up dying. And then she killed the baby, which was Essex's son. So then they came down to only 36 slaves was on the plantation at that point. You know. And then how you gonna come and the slave trade came and slave traders came and snatched up Phoebe at her own mama funeral. When I tell you it wasn't no mercy on that plantation, wasn't no mercy. Absolutely no mercy.
It was Miss Delphina who caused the most havoc.
Yes, but the slave traders came and snatched her up though. But yeah, she did. Mm-hmm. At her own mama funeral.
Yeah, she got mad when she grabbed her hands because she went to strike her again, but she grabbed her like, you ain't about to strike me. And she got mad and sent her away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Miss Delphina said, oh, I'm going to fix you, honey.
Yeah, but I don't think they beat the slaves at that farm because it was just, but they all knew they wasn't free. So it didn't matter that they didn't beat them or whatever. They still wanted to get away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They just sent them to the jail. They sent him to the jail. That's how she ended up at Lapeer jail. But back then, slave was all about money. It was property, money. It was an exchange. It was all about people trying to live their life. That was the root of it. Dollar signs. Slaves, you weren't considered people. It was all about ching ching, money, 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 money. They can't lose they good slaves, because then they gonna lose in some kind of money in at the end of the day. They gonna lose profit. That's why the ones that was the strongest cost the most, and make sure everything, all your limbs is good. They do the body test your limbs, test everything. You good and young, especially the young ones. Oh, they really like the young ones, because then they can raise you up and mold you where you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to be. But back then, slaves was equivalent to money. That's what it was. Dollar signs. Yeah. So then once Phoebe got on the Lapeer plantation, she ended up with Reuben Lapeer. Remember she talked back to the people on the auction. They was like, you got to take off your clothes, bend over. She was like, I'm not doing none of that.
To the no.
I'm not doing. They was like, excuse me, did you not hear what we just said, dude? She was like, I'm not doing none of that. Nope. And that's when Lapeer got up from the back and was like, I want that one. I'll take her. She'll be with me. She'll come to my house. And she was like, oh, I didn't know who that man was, but whoever he was somebody, because everybody stopped doing what they was doing. Little did she know, honey, he was the head of the jail. That was his jail, okay? His name was Reuben Lapeer. The name of the jail was Lapeer's jail, okay? So he was the owner. But the thing that made him want to be with her anyway, because he felt like she was smart. That's what attracted him to her. She was smart. She was very intelligent. She didn't act like the regular slave. That's why when he got a mistress, when he got with Sissy, when she told him, remember she told Phoebe, I just want you to teach my son to read. And Phoebe was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not teaching your son nothing. What if I have to gain out of that? And Phoebe said, oh, I see why Reuben liked her. They didn't call him Reuben, they called him Mars, Marse. I see why Mars liked him. She was smart. The master liked somebody with brains. And and one of the mottos they always said in the book, they said beauty was a curse. Remember, they always kept saying that beauty was a curse for a slave girl.
Yep.
Yep. So you say what, Lasandra?
I say, yeah, thanks to them dirty old white men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So then they talked about the fancy girls, or remember the fancy girls? I think on page 112. They spoke about them at the bottom of page 112. Mulatto girls like her are fancy breed. He eyed me up and down, and then he hit me. And then it hit me. Miss Delphina's last words: take her to the Lapeer jail to be a fancy girl, to live out her life as a whore. That's what the fancy girls, that's what their job was, to be whores. That's a shame.
Yeah, that was a time back then, I swear.
That I
Who
mean,
picked this
yes.
book?
And then think about Miss Phoebe when she became Miss Miss Ruben Lapierre's mistress. She had to dress these girls that were coming in off other plantations. She had to dress them to get ready. They were little kids. They
Yeah.
weren't all women grown. They were children coming in to be sold off as a whore.
Yeah.
Who picked this book this month?
I did.
Listen.
Baby. But you know, I know it's important, for us to know our history so we don't repeat it and all that. But this type of stuff right here, it just sets me. I don't do well with it because I just get so angry about how we were treated, and then we are still to a certain extent treated that way.
Mm-hmm.
And Tanisha, you were talking about slavery was money. So the new slave system is the prison system.
It
They're
is.
making money off of that. So we're still looked at as commodities. Look at how they rank and judge professional athletes. How fast can you run? How high can you jump? How much do you
Mhm.
weigh? So we still looked at as commodity. And it's just, man, I don't know. I was thinking, I said maybe I'll go back and get it and listen to it, but the more y'all talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I don't want to get my blood pressure. I don't want to get my blood pressure up.
Yeah,
I just, like you said, remember it's fictional. It's really not fictional history, but it's fictional. But yeah, that man.
listen, when I picked the book, I didn't know that that's what it was about. I was telling Tanisha, I didn't read, to find out. I never really look at the back of the books and read to see what the books are about. I go off the title, the cover, or whatever. If it looks interesting to me, the title, Yellow Wife, like I had no idea what the book was about or entail. If I knew that, I doubt I would have picked it. But it was an interesting read, and I agree with you that,
Oh yeah.
you know, I don't, it's not something that I want to just sit and read about and think about our people back then and how they were treated and how we are still mistreated to this day. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was an interesting read for sure. Cause I was telling Tanisha, like once I got to reading it, I'm like, wait a damn minute. Like I didn't know it was about slavery, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it was, an interesting read or listen, however you did it. Um, I just know me right now. I mean, I would have been heated probably the whole entire book. Attitude just funky. Looking at all the white folks at work like, don't talk to me.
Yeah, I want to just add that the way Ebony felt, I've been there, had those emotions and used to get angry and get upset and all that, but that has kind of subsided. I'm not really at that level, any longer. It was kind of more in the beginning when I was learning, reading history. That's why a lot of people do not know their history, and a lot of people don't really like to read about our history because it will make them angry. But every now and then, I will say I like to read, of course, history books, nonfiction books, history books, anything about our culture, because this is what needs to be told and taught to our younger generation. And as a reminder for us as well, um, the last book club I was in, we did nothing but read nonfiction books. So at that time in the beginning, I stayed heated. But over time and as years went on, you grow and you just don't be so, you still have that feeling in you of emotions, but it's not as high as it used to be. You know what I mean? So at some point, you will learn to just read it as a book, informative. Let's talk about it, and it just brings you back to how things was, and how we've grown from that, And like you stated, you are correct. The jail is nothing but money. It's an institution, you know. It's another form of slavery. Slavery, we will never die. It just won't, you know. We will always be a profit as Black people. They just gonna do it in a different way, but it's at the root of the issue is always going to be still there. Slavery is never going to go anywhere. That's why I look at the young people. They think, oh, that ain't our, I don't want to hear nothing about that history. Woo, woo. All they doing is polishing it, making it in a different form. Okay, we don't have chains. We not getting whipped every day. We not doing the nuisance. You don't see people just hanging on trees no more and stuff like that. But it's just modified. It's there, but it's so you don't really see it, but it's still there. It's something that's always going to be there. We're in America. It's all about America was built on slavery. So, hey, land of the free. Yeah, it's land of the free, but not for really us, I mean, it's just the way the world is, But these conversations have to be had, have to be discussed, have to be talked about. Because like I said, when we discuss these books, it's not just for us. Hundreds of people is going to look at this years from now. Your children will look at this. You know what I mean? So that's why it's so important to dive into these books, teach your children their history, so that it won't be such a surprise when some shit go down. You know what I'm saying? You know your stuff. Don't be ashamed of it. So many parents don't want to talk about it, don't want to discuss it, because they don't want to be looked at, they don't want to talk about it. It's such a sensitive topic. But that's one thing about this group. We will discuss sensitive topics. We're going to get down. We're going to talk about it. And because it's reality at the end of the day. This is really what happened. Although this is a historical fiction book, this is still about slavery, and slavery still went down. She just named the people. She didn't use the actual names of the people in the book, but this actual story did go down. It really was. It really was real. That's why they were stating that she got the story from when she went on a walking trail in Virginia, and she just changed the names up and changed the story, things like that. She didn't use the real names, but it's still a fiction story, but it's historical because it's history at the end of the day, So I just want to say basically to Ebony, I know it's hard, it's kind of a heavy book. And we don't read books like this that often. I'm a little better at it. I can kind of take it, I've layered. I'm a little more layered, I guess I should say. So, I'm just trying to help you so that maybe if you do read more of it, it'll help you as you go, as you grow and as years go on. Because if you don't look at it, you're gonna always stay in that, oh, I'm mad, I hate everybody. Baby. Don't hate them. Don't look at them, because now you know what you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? It keep you on your toes. You know what you're dealing with. Don't ever fall for that okie doke. You feel me? Don't fall for that. Don't fall for it. And
not to interrupt, it's right that you say that, don't fall for that, because it's still like that in the workplace. Because if you work in a diverse whatever, they stick together. If something goes on or whatever, they'll blame us or say whatever, or we're treating them wrong or whatever, but they'll stick together, and they still band together. It's like something in them that band together. You know what I'm saying? And when something goes wrong, they don't see, or they turn a blind eye when they do something that they had no business doing.
Absolutely.
Then when we go, whatever, they'll blame us, find fault. She did this, she was late, or it's okay when they're late to work or whatever. Oh, they have issues. We all got issues, but this one need to come to work just like I gotta come to work.
I mean, just even
Yeah.
look at the whole Jonathan Majors situation. If I don't know if you all are familiar with that, but another white woman crying assault,
And
and
everybody
then
running to help her.
right, and
And
then
he
the
didn't do
video
anything
come out,
but say, I don't want you.
and the video come out showing him running from her, and she chasing him,
Exactly.
and
You
they
know,
still found him guilty.
I thought they vindicated him.
Unless they overturned it, that he was
No, he
initially
was
found
found
guilty,
guilty. He was found guilty on 2 counts out of 4.
Oh.
and he didn't lost Marvel, and he didn't lost a lot of money behind it for something he probably didn't even do. I was like, we don't know what happened inside the car, but I know if he beat you, somebody
But
beat me, I'm not gonna be chasing him.
she said it that she saw a text that came up on his phone from another woman. She snatched his phone from his hand and they got to tussling for the phone. So how it advanced from there or how much, that's what we don't know. But you have people on both sides of that. Like I know a lady who she says it's his fault. He started it, whatever. But I'm like, how did he start it when she snatched his phone? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't know what starting it is or was in her mind. But if it's his phone, it's his phone. That's his property. Why are you snatching it from him? Like, and then you have people who say, well, that's what he get. That's what brothers get. They're never gonna learn because they want, the snow bunnies or whatever. But such is life. Like, and I don't think it's gonna change nothing. The black men of his stature or whatever, they're still gonna go after those women for whatever reason that they go. And then how they released the tape of him talking about he want her to be more like Coretta Scott King or Michelle Obama, but you didn't get you a Coretta Scott King or a Michelle Obama. You got you Jennifer Aniston. I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, Jennifer.
But I don't know. Like, to me, I don't know if his mentality was kind of like, or what Wesley Snipes, like what Wesley was like, well, y'all black women didn't want him before he became who he
That's
was.
so tired to me. Like, who didn't go through that as a kid? Me as a black woman, I went through that as a dark-skinned black girl growing up. Nobody liked my black ass growing up or whatever. I was called every name in the book, but I didn't grow up hating black men. I didn't grow up saying I would never date a black man. I love black men. I love black people. So that's just a cop out for me. You get that from Wesley Snipes, from dark-skinned black men. You get that from Dennis Rodman. Who else? So many other, like that. Y'all were
Well,
kids.
Dennis
So what?
Rodman, I ain't giving him a pass. But he's kind of weird anyway. But he grew up in a weird setting to me.
Like
It
Tommy
was
Mhm.
Davidson,
so
his
he grew up with
circumstance.
white. He
Right.
had a white family took him in. So I can understand him being attracted because that's who he was around all the time. And that's who took him in. But his
And
own
that ain't
family
no
shunned him away. They ain't giving him an excuse, but I understand
But
why
he
he
still said
dealt
the
with them.
same thing though. Black girls didn't want him, so blah
Oh,
blah blah. That's
Who said the
just
same
a
thing?
Dennis Rodman. If he
oh,
grew
Well,
up
I mean, shit, grown
weird,
women didn't want Dennis Rodman, though.
exactly.
I mean,
He's
the money makes them more attractive to a lot of people because that's what they're after. That's what they want, the money. Like
Mhm.
if I didn't want him, you know, his money, he still is Dennis Rodman. He still looked like he looked with his
Right.
money or without it. So I don't know.
He's weird.
Yeah, like you have women like, oh, they can have him. You know.
And whatever he got going on, and behind him, Madonna said she'll never date another black man. So I don't know what he did to her,
Hmm.
but it turns her
They
off
say
against
he's
black
well
men and dating
endowed,
black
but he's
men.
still weird.
Well,
He's
yeah,
still
he a strange bird.
But you gonna
Mm-mm.
blame all women for what some little girl said to you when y'all were kids. Like, be for real.
exactly.
But that's real though, because a lot of childhood trauma that's not dealt with affects grown people today and how they
I'm
relate
affected
to.
by childhood trauma, but I'm still not turned off by my people. I was
And
traumatized by black people.
it,
But
and it depends on you as a person and how you've been healed by it, how you choose to
I'm
behave
still
behind it. But
feeling.
it's real.
I don't deny that.
Yeah,
I don't deny that
absolutely.
at all.
It goes on multiple levels, but like you said, sometimes people they don't even want to be around. Like how you say, I love my people. They don't want to live in the city. They want to live in the outer city, but they feel, oh, I'm going. They're looking for a couple of things: security, safety. You know what I'm saying, and to be needed. So if that's what's giving it to them, by all means, it's like you ultimately have a need to feel safe. So I don't know if they feel safe around them. I don't know what it is, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they sure can't provide them security. I don't know.
Yep, whatever gets them through the day.
Exactly.
My whole thing is like, just don't blame every black woman for what one or two did. That's just my thing. Like, because everybody went through something as a child, big,
Hmm.
small, whatever.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's just how I look at it
Hmm.
or think about it. But what do you think about what was his name? Her baby daddy when he came to the jail, when he was captured and brought to the jail.
Essex,
Uh,
Essex.
yeah.
What you mean when he came to the
So
jail? What you mean? What about him? Like,
I was scared for them because once I found like when she realized he's there, he's coming there, I'm like, oh Lord, I hope she don't get them both killed because
I thought so too.
yeah,
But she
because
was
like
sneaking to go see him.
yeah,
She was having sex with him, all kind of stuff.
like she was making some bold moves.
And she knows she was with the devil.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Then she was
yeah,
drugging him, putting drugs and sleeping drugs or whatever in his wine so he could sleep longer so she can go sneak off and have her a little rendezvous. And then the one time when she came back and his bedroom door was open, you know what I mean? Like, where were
Hmm.
you? Oh, I had to go, feed the baby or whatever. Good, she had that as an excuse, but didn't somebody see her sneaking over there or sneaking from over there?
yeah. Sissy
His
did.
mistress, his
Sissy
other
saw him. That's
mistress.
when she asked her. I know you
Sissy.
sleeping. I know you sneaking to go see the jailer. I mean the prisoner. I know you sneaking over there. That's when she asked her. I won't tell if you would. It was her husband's mistress. She said, I won't tell if you teach my son how to read.
Hmm.
That's all I want.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's when Phoebe said, no, I'm not gonna teach him how to read. No.
But I was like, oh
So
Lord, this
yeah,
girl gonna get them both killed.
yeah. She wanted her man shit.
Yeah, I know.
She was willing to risk her life.
Risk it all.
She didn't care.
Every
Yeah,
time, because every time he kept going, and he was like, stay a little longer. I'm like, okay, they about to both
I
be dead.
know.
Yeah.
I know. I was on pins and needles. Oh, and then when she found out he was coming there, she was like,
I
because
know.
they had called him, and she was like, they was like, you heard about the one that's giving everybody so much trouble? That guy Essex Henry. Oh, and she knew he was coming. Oh my God.
And
They
he
had been away from each other for so long.
yeah, I was
That's
just
one
about
thing
to
about
say.
being in slavery. Huh?
Oh, I said that's what I was about to
That's
say.
what they,
Sorry.
let me put my phone on mute. Hold on. I'm in my, I'm in my court.
No, I was saying that's what I was about to say. Like when she found out he was coming, and then he coming, and she know that he didn't even know he had a son, and then she had what, 4 daughters, however many daughters with the jailer. So I was just like, oh Lord, this girl gonna get them all killed up in here.
Yeah. Yeah. She actually had a total of 6 kids. She had Monroe, but she did have 4 girls though. She had Monroe.
One of
That
them
was the
died,
black.
one of them passed, right? One of the babies.
Yeah, she had Monroe, the black boy, Hester, a girl, Isabel, another girl, Joan, another girl, Reuben Jr. was the one that died, and Catherine, also known as Birdie.
Well, yeah, but I was meaning like she had 4 by the master.
Oh yeah, I know. Right. I have to let people know that she actually had 6 kids total.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but she had 4
Now wait,
girls.
what
Yeah.
what had happened with the baby anyway that passed? Because I think I missed something there. I just know he was sick or something.
He,
He had some kind of
he didn't
fever.
live. Yeah.
He only
Mhm.
lived a couple of days.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. I know she
Yeah.
had one that passed, but I didn't remember. I skipped something where what had happened with him.
Yeah. He
Mhm.
was really hot and he
And then
wouldn't latch on to her.
she was trying to take that medicine to stop her from having the babies. But she kept forgetting to take it.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, then when she called the doctor, she knew something was wrong when he wouldn't latch on to her breast. She knew
Mhm.
something was wrong then. And he was just always very hot, super hot, and that's when they called she said she told her master, you need to call the doctor. Can you call the doctor because something's wrong with the baby? And he was really happy because that was his first son. And when they called the doctor, he said he won't live for only a couple more days. And she gave him the medicine, but it didn't. He started, before he died, he started screaming and hollering, and I kind of thought like, oh, he coming back. He was crying and stuff, but then he died immediately after he screamed and cried and stuff like that. And he ate a little food, took a little bit of her breast, but it just he didn't make it. He didn't make it. But I want to talk about the little boy Monroe, her first son, and how her master, Mars, Reuben Lapierre, how he took her son away from her. One thing about the masters and the overseers, one thing they're gonna do is when they know that you like something or love something or someone, they're going to definitely take that person away from you. That's their main goal, is we got to get them away from each other. That's why they snatched families, your husband, your kids, because that's the thing that's most, that you love the most. When they find out that you love something or like something, they're going to try to snatch that away and keep you all separated as far as possible, as long as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he took he took her son away. Y'all remember that? He took her son away.
He kept them
He made him
separated
live in
too.
another house.
Right. So he took the son away. He kept them separated. He moved them in the kitchen with the kitchen help. But on top of that, he treated him more like a slave because he was making him work as a little kid. You know what I'm saying? She like,
Yeah,
it took
because that
too long
wasn't
to
his
be doing
son.
it. Exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't
But
his son,
every
and
time
he
she
was
would
black.
leave, when she started going to the church, he wouldn't let him leave either. He didn't let her, because he know that if she leave, he already knew she didn't like her. You know what I'm saying? But she know if he leave that if they left together, that it was a chance that she wasn't gonna come back.
Yeah, because she
But
even
every time
said
she would
we
leave the
and when we
house,
went to church.
the baby couldn't go. He had to stay.
Yep. Yeah.
And then the first time she took him out, it was something she did. He took him out. Whatever he did to him, he did something to him, I guess, to show that he was a slave. He came back with his head down, and whatever he did or said to him, he knew then he couldn't even attach to his mama because whatever he did, it was after he got a whooping. He took him out, and she was like, she didn't know what happened. It was like, but he made sure that he knew that he was a slave. So that's why he kept saying, "Mama, I am a slave." And she was like, "Only in your mind, Mama. Stop saying that." You know what I'm saying? It was like she
Yeah.
didn't want to admit that she was a slave. Wow. Except for when they was about to leave, he didn't want to leave his mama. It was like, "No, you got to come."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And he told her, he like you, he hates me. He knew that. Because
Uh,
when their child was playing the game, remember the puppet game? He
and
whooped Monty.
he beat him.
Yeah.
He didn't just whoop him. He
He
beat
beat
him
him.
until
Yeah. He beat him.
his sister was like, "Stop it."
Yeah. And it just goes to show you how her kids were all her, they were birthed by her, but they all lived different lives, especially between Monty and her daughters. They all lived a different life.
Mhm.
You know, same mother, totally different life. Monty experienced all kind of trauma.
Mhm. Then they took him to the little slave house. So
The
knowing he was
plantation, another plantation.
that
Yeah.
was crazy.
Yes. She couldn't even be with her son half the time.
Mhm.
They weren't even staying in the same house like that. She was like, how am I gonna go check on him at night? You know? And then her and the other lady got into it, Essie, is that her name? They was into it. They, had beef with each other. The older lady who was the cook.
Yeah, at the end they did come to
Yeah,
I guess the peace together.
right. They eventually mended, but they went
Mhm.
through stuff for years, because she said, oh, so she get pregnant and she go get a whole room. Wait, all my babies died from you.
Hmm.
I lost all my kids working like a slave every day, but she get pregnant and she goes to have her own little room in the house. And we gotta wait on her hand and feet. Now that was something right there.
Yeah, because he was in love with her.
Mm-hmm.
Or how can I say in lust with her? He wasn't in love with her because at the end he was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Call me master." I'm like, okay,
Yep.
crazy. No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
how they were.
You want to call him master? Then you go
Yeah.
ask, "Do you love me? Really?
Right.
Really? I
Right.
don't love you."
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But
Crazy.
then y'all remember when Basil escaped and baby, he never came back. He was the good guy. You know what I'm saying? Did everything for him. What he said they call him his good slave. Basil.
But that was after he beat Basil to death. So he
Yeah.
had beat, and Basil stayed there with him, and everybody. And I said that was unexpected that he ran away because they didn't think he was gonna run away after he
Yeah.
done
He
beat
was the jailer's manservant. Mm-hmm.
him. So they just knew he was gonna stay even after he done beat him. No, he got away.
Yeah, he kept that real hush hush, baby. He went on, did everything he's supposed to do, didn't tell nobody about his plan. And baby, one day he went out them gates and never came back, baby. And they could not find him ever again. But until he came, remember he was on the boat when they freed when Phoebe freed Essex, her son, and Tommy and Abby. Basil was the one that greeted Abby because they remember they beat Abby. He was the girlfriend. And see that's what they do. If you try to escape, they gonna get your girlfriend, your wife, whoever, because they know, oh, you was in cahoot with somebody. So since we can't get you, they beat Abby to death, baby. And Abby ain't been right since. So And then that's how Essex came to the plantation because he was they was like he was giving up so much trouble. And so Reuben Lapierre said, oh, let's make an example out of this one right here. We finna have a field day. They made it into a big celebration. His whipping became a big celebration. We finna show y'all what's gonna happen if any of y'all even think about running away again. And baby, she said they slashed him 96 times with that whip.
And each time they put that, whatever they was putting on him, make it
Some
sting
pepper,
more.
right? The pepper water, whatever. I'm like,
hot. It was like he got off on that beating.
Yes, remember she said I never saw him like that. Like she didn't even know he. And the other lady knew. She's like, baby, they don't call him the devil around here for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Who you think the devil is? Because when Phoebe came on the plantation, she was still young. She didn't know. She was like, oh, okay, it is what it is. He liked me. I don't like him, but whatever. And it took her a long time to even want to be his mistress. She was still staying away from him. She wasn't dressing pretty. She was wearing the ugly clothes on. They was like, you should probably wear something a little nicer for, the Mark's wanting to see you. She was like, I'm going to just wear my regular dress.
Now, that's what I really found funny is that they called him Mars. When she was like, not the book was funny, but when she was like, they trying to say master? She was like, Mars.
Right.
She was like, Mars. What the heck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like they almost got off that they couldn't even pronounce the words correctly.
Yeah.
So, and then when she was always trying to correct Monroe, and he was like, nah, I already know I'm not gonna get it. He probably got whooped for talking proper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then
when he went to the other plantation, the guy told him,
trying to be
don't be talking white. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
So he was like, nah, I see y'all.
But then remember when she started having her other kids, she was like, when she had Hester, Monroe would be crying for her. She'll go pick up Hester and just have to be like, I'll be back, Monroe. Like, gave him so much love and affection, but couldn't barely even touch Monty. Like remember, Hester got birthday parties, did celebrations, all kind of stuff. Birthday gifts. Monroe never got nothing. No birthday party, no gift, no none.
Wow.
And this is your child, but you gotta act like he ain't your child around your master. You can't show him no love.
Yeah, that had to be hard.
Yes, this is your son. This your baby. But if you show him any type of affection or anything, you gonna get whipped. And she didn't want that. And then remember, he took all her kids away. She got so sick. Oh my God, she didn't bathe for like 3 weeks or something. And was it 3 days? She didn't bathe for a long time. Remember, she was sick. She was like, my kids are gone. I can't do nothing. I'm sick. She didn't know if her kids was coming back or not. That was that was just that was something else. That book was deep. All right, so let me ask another question. Though Miss Delphina is aware that Phoebe is Master Jacob's daughter, she seems to take her wrath out on Phoebe rather than her mother Ruth. Why do you think that is? Why do you think this is? Though Mrs. Delphina is aware that Phoebe is Master Jacob's daughter, she seems to take her wrath out on Phoebe rather than on her mother Ruth. Why do you think this is?
Because she knew that was her husband's child. And she didn't have kids with her husband, right?
She didn't have kids, but also I don't think Ruth was in the house. So it wasn't so much as in her face. Yeah. he goes out to this special house and has sex with the husband. The husband had sex with the slave, but Ruth wasn't allowed in the house. The only person who was in the house was the child. So it's like that's is right in my face. So he didn't care what she was doing out in that field to them slaves. But when you brought it into the house, because this is our house, even like when the jailer went to pick up Monroe from the other house, the lady was like, "This is my house. I don't have such in my house." She don't have I don't know what she called her exactly. Niggas, I don't know what she called them. Or slaves in her house. I don't know exactly what she called her, but she didn't want them in her house. So she didn't give Ruth a hard time because Ruth didn't come up in the house. Even though she knew what Master Jacobs was doing, he wasn't in the house. But this child was up in the house, and then the sister allowed the child to come and play in the house. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can put their hands on a child. But to her, she was just another slave. But to him, that was, his special slave.
Mm-hmm. And I also figured that she ain't mess with Ruth because Ruth was that medicine woman. Shoot. She ain't want her giving her no tea or no wrong nothing, baby. You don't mess with the medicine woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like she also went after the daughter because she felt like, the woman felt like, Miss Delphina, she didn't have children. So she felt like, I'm going to take it out on the kid. Anytime your man have a kid with another woman, you're going to take that hatred out pretty much on the kid. Yeah, you may say a few words to the woman, but at the end of the day, you're going to pay them back with that kid. And it's sad that it's like that because the kid didn't ask to be here, but that's just how it is. You know what I mean? It's something about that baby with another woman.
Yeah.
Just even Phoebe felt it. She was like, we a family. And she said, wait a minute, I don't even love this man, but we have a family. So when he started looking at Sissy and had a baby by her, she felt some type of way. She almost fell on her feet when she knew that Sissy was pregnant.
Whoa.
And remember, she didn't teach him how to read. Sissy said, can you teach my son how to read?
Nope.
Phoebe said, I'm not teaching him nothing. And she could have, but she said, You feel some type of way when your mate or whoever you sleeping with have a child by another woman. So I kind of felt like maybe that's why Miss Delphina took out on the kid. That's the kid gets the worst treatment. So that's the crazy thing. So I don't know. Whew. But I'm happy we read this book though. I am.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It's a good book. But I just want to say Merry Christmas to you all. Enjoy your movie. I gotta go now.
Yes.
Yes.
We had a good
All right.
discussion. Thank you so much for joining us, Yolanda.
You're welcome. All right.
All right.
Merry
So
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. So what
Merry
we're gonna do is pick the book. Yes, we're gonna pick the book for next month, and I'll send a text out to everybody. And Lysandra, you just give me you gave me your number already, so we're good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we kind of discussed the book a whole lot. It's almost getting late in the hour anyway, so almost 3. So yeah, we'll pick the book for the new year. Well, no, you know what? We don't even have to pick a book, but you still gave me your number because we having the lady from
Oh yeah, the author.
Yep, she's coming on next month. I've already talked to her, and I'm getting the flyer and stuff ready for that because her husband is coming. So we have waited, and
for the time, right?
Yeah, the documentary. Yeah, I have waited for
I'm
so
gonna be
long.
on for that one.
Yes, okay. That's what's up. So,
Yeah.
what happened was, I was supposed to have her on a while ago, but it just didn't happen. And I happened to have the other lady, remember, with the Love Jones cohort.
Yeah.
Then I had a couple of month authors, so it didn't happen last year. Well, this year. So I said, you know what, 2024. she's gonna be the first person on there. And I always like to have people on in January. Ever since we had your friend on in January. Yeah, if I don't have no other author, I like to do it in January because it's just, something to start the new year off with and exciting and stuff like that. So I
Have
thought
you
that was a
watched the
really good.
documentary yet?
No, but I'm sure finna watch it.
Yeah, because I
That's
had
why I
watched
got
it.
Amazon Prime.
Yep, I had watched it, and then I was on a Zoom with them before. They had a Zoom about it. So yeah, I'm putting that on my
Oh yeah,
calendar. I'm gonna put it on my
yeah,
calendar because I
yep.
definitely want to be on for that one.
Okay, cool. That'll be January the 28th, the last Sunday of the month. And
Okay.
she said, I did ask her. She said her husband will be on as well. So,
Yep. Okay. Yep.
so they
I'm
both gonna be
gonna
on there with
rewatch
us.
the documentary too. I'll rewatch
Okay, cool. I'm gonna get the book. I'm gonna have to get the book. I think it's only is it only at Amazon or is it everywhere?
it. Might be. I
'Cause
don't know. It might be everywhere.
yeah, a lot of times. Okay, because I know a lot of times when they're independent authors, they don't have
Amazon
it everywhere.
Prime
But
is
I'm
still.
gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm about to order it as soon as we get offline. And like I say, that's why I got Amazon Prime just because of her documentary.
Yeah.
I've been watching it, but I got it because I knew we were gonna read her book. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
All right then. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, hun.
All right. See you tomorrow.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.